The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
This story happened in Eretz Yisrael. It's a Ma'aseh Shehaya. There was a Oni Meruda, a downtrodden, terrible financial situation in a house. Parents with 9 children, very young. The oldest wasn't even bar mitzvah yet. 9 children. There was no food in the house. The father tried. He tried to make a living. And it's nicht gegangen, it just didn't go. But the family was pleading, crying, hunger, starvation. Finally, one time, the Nebayis, the mother in the house, tells her husband, listen, let's do Ishtadlus. I have a novel idea. You go to the supermarket. You fill the basket. You fill another basket with whatever you feel we need for the household. And at that time, throughout the time that you're away from home, I'm going to be sitting with the Tehillim and davening to Rabbi Shloim that something should happen. Somehow you should come home with that food. He says, but I have no money to pay. I have no credit. I have nothing. They're not going to sell me a bottle of milk without some sort of payment. She says, let us do our Ishtadlus. I will do my Tehillim, and you go to the store. Okay. When you're desperate, you do desperate things. And he was B'teach B'Hashem. She was B'teach B'Hashem, and he went to the supermarket. He started filling whatever foods he felt were needed for the household. And when he's finished, he pushes the wagon, filled over the top to the counter, and there's 1 or 2 people in front of him. And while he was standing in line, another 6, 7 wagons, different people had finished their shopping, and they got behind him, and there was a big line. He's third, and there was, let's say, 10 wagons. And as the 2 in front of him get done, he says, "Oi!" He tells the people behind him, I want to buy one more thing. And he leaves the whole wagon there, and he goes to the store, and he gets something else, and he brings it back. And they were patient. Listen, he forgot an item. Okay. And then he comes back and says, "Oi, there's one more thing I want." Obviously, he was stalling for time, because he couldn't pay. So his way of stalling for time is, let me continue, and meanwhile, there'll be Tehillim said, and hopefully the Yeshua will come. And he goes again. And he comes back and says the third time. When it says the third time that he wants to go, there was a person behind him, one of the people waiting, and he let loose on him. He says, "What are you doing over here? You don't realize there's a line?" And he starts with a kpeda, and he blasted him. You can't do such things. You forgot something? Fine, go buy it a different time. And someone walks over to this person who was screaming and said to him, "Why are you so sure? Why are you so sure that he's behaving in, not in a nice way towards you? Maybe he simply does not have money to pay." What possessed this person to have such a thought? Also, Me'ez Hashem. It's not a natural thought that someone would think if someone is going to get another item, it's because he doesn't have money to pay. It's a very unusual thing. But At the Chayne Lodom Das, the Eibishter put in the machshav in this person's head, and he says to this person, maybe, just 1 second. And he walks over to the one that he just beraved, and he gave him a lecture, or worse. And he says to him, do you any chance have money to pay? And he breaks down. And he says, no, I don't have money. This person was a very well-to-do person, the Asher Yana Azus. And he felt terribly bad. And he was choyze b'tshuva instantly. And he says, how much do you need for your Shabbos shopping? He tells him a amount of 9 children in a house. Tremendous amount of money. $400 or $500 a week in shkolim, whatever the amount is. Takes out a check. Choyze b'tshuva to the nth degree. Writes him out a check. He says, here, you could pay with this. And he adds, for the next 12 months, every week, I'm giving you this amount. And he writes out checks and checks and checks and checks. And he gives it to him. What happened here? He was a well-to-do person. And he didn't like what he saw. But he did something very wrong. The other person that told him, how do you know? There, the machshav in his head was as a ani imach. Let's say he's an ani. If he's an ani, he's one of us. And if he's one of us, you gotta treat him as one of us. As a ani imach. And what a beautiful ending to the story. For a year, he had what he needed. The Zamaise Shahoya. As ha'ani imach. The ani gotta be part of us. If he's part of us, very easy to give him, to help him, to make sure they have their needs, the aniyim. Mikamchi Yisrael. This is not the only story. There are a lot of such stories. This is the koyach of Klal Yisrael, Gomel Chasadim. But we have to remember, it's not just being Gemel Chesed. It's very nice. It's beautiful to be Gemel Chesed. But the attitude has to be as a oni imach. You're not on a higher pedestal. He's not down on the bottom. Wherever you are, as a oni imach. He's with you.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org